back to the channel, fool. Share, like, and subscribe if you like videos like this.
Human meat.
A new line of affordable protein is hitting our shelves. This is engineered human meat.
That's right, a protein made from human cells that promises to be cheaper and tastier than any of its competitors.
I'm Greg Wallace.
And I'm off to visit Good Harvest, where a whopping 6 tons of human meat is engineered every day.
That is stunning.
With the promise of cheap meat for all, it may well be the meaty miracle we need to ease the squeeze of the cost.
You're gonna say disgusting, but hey, are they trying to stop cannibalism?
It appears that there was a galactic war millions of years ago in the Pleiadian star system. Planets were being destroyed. They had weapons called the Brahmanda weapon, which would destroy any man on 3 worlds. They had these tablets of destiny, which whoever had control can destroy people's planets and moons. Imagine in this solar system, debris going everywhere and hitting planets, destroying civilizations. We would flee if we could. People started fleeing these star systems around the Pleiades millions of years ago, creating breakaway civilizations in other parts of the galaxy, different sector altogether. The Anunnaki people, these Atlantean people, they went and started off in another place. They had risen to a higher level there. This is interesting. Weapons of mass destruction. They had a weapon called the WMD. Wow. Yes. And they had done away with them. They were forsaken. But when a small group of these people broke away and came to kickstart a civilization here on Earth, they stole some of the WMDs and brought them with them. This is in ancient tablets. They put them hid them in a mountain and swore never to use them.
And you look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star.
The Bible says God separated the waters from the waters. Could space actually be some form of liquid?
So this story is the reason I stopped making content for 5 years. Do you guys remember when all those Vine stars and skit Instagrammers moved to LA in like 2015-ish? So I wasn't a huge creator at the time, but I was there and around it all as all of that stuff was happening. I moved from Chicago to LA 3 weeks after high school with like $2,000 in my pocket that I saved up working at Steak and Shake with this other aspiring creator named David. I was much more into editing and being behind the camera at that time, and he was much more into Vine and vlogs and being on camera. That time of our lives was absolutely crazy. Everybody was broke, posting anything we could onto YouTube to get some attention. I happened to get a spot at the now notorious 1600 Vine Apartments, and David got a spot a little bit closer to USC. Everyone was collaborating with everyone, and it was the era of clickbait YouTube. And to be honest, it was extremely fun for the first few months, until Hollywood started to notice that influencers were the next big thing, and that the landscape of the industry was changing. And we started to get invited to more exclusive parties and events, where it seemed as if old Hollywood was almost grooming new Hollywood. And there was rumors of this one gathering that was happening on a monthly basis, where it seemed like anybody that got invited saw a massive jump in their numbers, secured huge brand deals right after attending. But apparently this gathering worked on a buddy system. Someone had to vouch for you and bring you as a guest. And by blind luck, me and David ended up getting invited. Some talent agents saw me and David shoot a silly skit at a random party. He didn't invite us that second, he just told us that he saw something special in us and took our contact information. And listen, people do that all the time in LA, but this guy had a different feel to him. He wasn't trying to convince us he had connections or hype himself up like everybody else does. He was just super calm and had a sharp way of speaking that demanded respect. He was extremely brief, and after getting our numbers, he just said, "Look out for the invite," and walked walked away. And this is where it gets weird. I never gave this guy my address. I only gave him my number, but I ended up getting an invitation by letter. And at the time, I thought that that was so cool. But in retrospect, as an adult looking back at it, that alone was a huge violation of privacy and a major red flag. But at the time, when I tell you I was absolutely buzzing with excitement, when I got it, the letter was so extravagant and detailed. It was gold with black and red lettering that read something like, "Your talents have been noted, your name has been endorsed," and I'll never forget this part. "The dreams you have been chasing are a night away through the seventh heaven." And the address was a beautiful home in Laurel Canyon that was set to happen that weekend. It also noted to not be a minute late and not to expect to leave before midnight. And at the time, it felt like the Willy Wonka golden ticket. And the excitement doubled when I got a text from David at the same time, in all caps saying, "Did you get one too?" I felt like our lives were about to change. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. I felt like our lives were about to change. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. When I tell you I was on cloud 9 leading up to that party, I mean it. I was so young and naive and delusionally optimistic. I truly believed that I was gonna go to this party and leave rich, because it literally seemed like that was happening to the creators around me that attended. I was hyped. I've never been a braggy person, but when you're young and excited, you get consumed by good news and want to talk to your friends and peers about it. So everybody that I chatted with who I knew was a content creator and was in the know about this party, I couldn't help but to tell them. And all the feedback was positive and along the lines of, "Let me know how it goes," or "Can you try to get me into the next one?" And even some from bigger creators saying, "I'll see you there," with like a little smirk on their face, like they were pumped for me. Except for one conversation with a creator that most of you probably know. This creator is an extremely positive guy, and he's one of the most wholesome, bubbly, genuine guys I met out there. And when I told him the good news, he looked at me like I told him a tsunami was headed towards the building. The usual joy that this man brought to every conversation turned into real fear and concern. And he made me leave the lobby and come up to his apartment before explaining anything to me. Like he was scared that somebody was gonna overhear our conversation. When we got up to his apartment, he was just pacing, like he had no idea how to start this conversation. But when he finally spoke up, all he said was, "Listen, Doug, I know you're excited, but I'm begging you, please do not go. That man is not who you think he is." He was being so frantic, and I could see tears welling up in this guy's eyes. But I was young, and I thought that I knew everything. I didn't even think the talent agent that sent us the invite was important. I was interested in the connections, and I didn't really care if the talent agent was shady, or if his intention was to sign me to a bad deal. I thought I'd just say no to any bad contract that he tried to send me, but still get to reap all the benefits of the party. So I tried to pry a little bit and ask follow-up questions, but all he gave me was, "I have a friend who went, and he hasn't been the same since he didn't cooperate. I don't know what he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen."
You think those parties just stop because they've been exposed?
On 3, 2, 3.
Whoa! That was good.
That was amazing.
How do you guys feel?
I'm at a point in my life like we all grew up in the streets.
Meek Mills.
Meek Mill has set the internet on fire after confirming the gay allegations involving him and Diddy. But the twist, he's claiming it wasn't by choice and is reportedly filing a lawsuit against Diddy for abuse. This revelation has fans and the industry buzzing, with Meek stepping out to clarify that he was manipulated and pressured into situations he never consented to. According to Meek, these weren't just rumors. Things got dark behind the scenes.
Meek Mills. Well, he said a Philly rapper. You understand? And it was redacted in the paperwork to that because, first of all, it had Meek Mills, it had Stevie J, they had redacted their names, and they had Usher, and they redacted their names and just said a performer of the Super Bowl and a Philly rapper. Everybody kind of knew back in the day that Meek Mills and Puff was a little too friendly. Anytime two rappers or two people in the industry come dressed up alike on more than one occasion, listen here, man. My dudes in Philly, I got some real strong dudes in Philly. They don't play that. And they probably embarrassed for the fact to see that Meek Mills, one of the street guys that came out of there, got caught up in this Hollywood, whereas that he's dressing like Diddy, hugged up with Diddy. I think that Lil Rod know a lot of, but I know this. Two men dress alike, it's just like two men laying down. When they both get up, they both homos. And that's real talk, bruh. My man, you go to a party, dog, and the nigga got the same shirt you got on, I'm taking my shirt off. I'm walking around in a t-shirt. And then, not to blow Meek Mill up out the water or anything like that, it was said that they checked his Google search and all that, and he was searching for some online gay porn and all that like that.
Oh, wow.
That is crazy, bro. But listen, those are what, you know, it's crazy that money, that lifestyle, and you trying to fit into something get you. These guys never set out to do all this. Meek Mills, when he got into the game, he didn't set out to be questioning about his manhood with Diddy. But he put himself in that position.
Diddy, known for his wild parties and behind closed doors antics, apparently crossed some serious boundaries, and now Meek is speaking out. He's not just calling Diddy out, he's taking him to court. The lawsuit reportedly accuses Diddy of abuse of power, manipulation, and exploitation within the industry. Meek is making it clear, whatever went down, it wasn't something he agreed to willingly. This adds another explosive layer to the already unraveling scandal around Diddy, with all the allegations stacking up against
Some good tea right there, but who is trying to fool?
I found evidence. What looks like a cloud moving is actually just a bunch of drones. Check it out. See that right there? You see that? Well, look where the arrow is right there. Look at that thing. See? They're already able to do it right now.
My ship.
Now imagine if something was above that cloud. You wouldn't be able to see what it is. And then think about downwards. If they wanted to put it on the ground, like maybe 20 feet above you, it'd be the same thing.
It's just gonna look like a building or something.
Yeah. It's gonna be the same thing. Yeah, so they put it down below, and let's say you're in an airplane and you're looking down, it's just gonna look like everything's normal. But they can already do it. They can already do it. Yeah. That's insane. The world record for the most synced sequential drones was established in China with 8,100 drones. And imagine if they all can blow up.
It shows 8,100 drones flying simultaneously.
Those are all drones.
Which actually broke a world record, a new Guinness World Record. Who's to say you can't fly 8,100 drones around a $13 billion aircraft carrier?
You could cover a section of the sky. Let's say you want somebody not to get any sunlight. You can actually block a whole block from sun. You can get all these drones to cover this area. You won't be able to see what they're doing, and they're doing it, and then the drones go away.
Welcome to the future.
Have you guys ever seen water move like this? Y'all see the way that it's jumping? Have you guys ever seen water do this type of trick? This right here is in Indonesia. Like, what's going on with the planet? This is Indonesia. You guys ever seen a tone generator? This is what 23 hertz looks like. Y'all ever seen that before? Look at that. So what if that was what was making the water do that? Y'all seen that? This is 23 hertz. Now this one over here is at 25 hertz. Does that look familiar? Look at that. The way that it's peaking. The way that it's peaking like that. Up and down, up and down. Does that look familiar? Now, didn't that look familiar at 25 hertz? Kind of like mirrors what this is doing over here. So, do you guys think it's frequency that's doing this? Does this look natural to you? Have you guys ever seen water move like this? Let me know down in the comments, y'all. And this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Y'all see what's going on with the world. Peace in.
There's cities underground, there's warehouses underground. There's actual homes underground. People build these tunnels, and they've built them for decades. There's a lot, and elite celebrities, they go down there for parties. Underneath the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California. I was there for a cock party. We walked through the museum, through the garden area, and employees led us to underground tunnels. We had to take an elevator and stairs. We had to be led. There is no way that you can just walk into a tunnel. The entrances and the exits are in your face, but there's no way that you can just walk through tunnels. You'll get stuck. You'll go deeper and deeper, and you won't be able to come back out because it's hard, because the tunnels run all different directions for miles and miles and miles and miles. So if you go down the wrong one, you'll get stuck, and it's confusing to turn back around and get back to where you're going. So you have to be led in and out. I think people assume that when you get underground, it's just this dirt, and you keep going deeper, and there's more dirt, and then there's cages. No, that's not how it works. The Playboy Mansion. The Playboy Mansions. I met some really elite people when I was there. I had to do jobs with some elite celebrities.
I'm a psychic medium, so I actually, like, every time I walk past his house, and obviously the Playboy Mansion's right there, and we know about the tunnels that connect from the Playboy Mansion.
To here?
I'm sure they connect here. Why wouldn't
There are places that connect, so what kind of energy? What kind of energy are you picking up?
There's just, like, darkness. I mean, in general, like, I've always had weird feelings on this street.
Yeah.
This type. Well, the Playboy Mansion's down there. So I always thought it was the Playboy Mansion. It wasn't until probably a year ago that I realized this was Diddy's house.
I cannot believe what went on under it. Playboy magazine reports it has just discovered blueprints for a network of tunnels beneath the mansion that supposedly led to the homes of Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, James Caan, and Kirk Douglas. Now dig this. A photo from the late 70s allegedly showing an excavation in progress beneath the mansion. And this one shows the newly discovered tunnel plans. Check out the bunny logo on the plywood wall. Best of all, the blueprint. It says this tunnel leads to James Caan's house. This one to Jack Nicholson's. This one to Kirk Douglas's. And this one goes all the way to Warren Beatty's house.
Pick it up again. Come on now. Help! Come down. I can't.
Come down.
Come down. Just keep coming down. Get whoa. Oh, wait, I'm in the way. All right, come down.
Please, I'm begging you. Somebody come.
Come down. You gotta come down.
I can't. The machine's not moving.
We in the
Man,
way.
I don't know how to work the machine.
Everything vibrates at a frequency, and if you know that frequency, you can control things. This is the model, and this is diagramming all the frequencies of the elements and what their vibrational frequencies are and the numbers that measure those frequencies. And they're all the numbers we get from looking at these ancient traditions that recur over and over and over again.
And so through this technology, they're able to move stones or cut stones or all the above?
All the above.
We call these transducers, which is just a fancy word for speakers. These speakers, they only work at one frequency, and this frequency is 40 kilohertz, which we shouldn't be able to hear. Only bats, dogs, and other animals should be able to hear 40 kilohertz. But because the ultrasound is so powerful, if we put some particles, they should be kept in midair with the power of sound. And all these things that they are just being like kept there with air, actually it's not air, it's the ultrasound pushing them from all directions.
Scientists already knew that sound waves create oscillating pockets of pressurized air, which can produce a force on an object capable of counteracting the pull of gravity. But while ultrasound levitation devices do exist, they all rely on standing waves created when two sound waves of the same frequency are emitted from opposite directions and superimposed on one another. That means all previous devices require two sets of transducers.
Not a single scratch.
When I was about 20 years old, me and my friend Kirsten were driving and we saw a sign that said like 246 miles to San Francisco, and we jokingly were like, oh, should we say screw it, just go to San Francisco instead? And we were laughing, kept driving for a little bit. Then all of a sudden, it felt like a downed power line. I don't know how to explain it. Like there was this energy, this very crackly sort of energy. We were like, what just happened? What was that? And we were both looking at each other like, you felt that, right? What just happened? So we keep driving, totally like freaked out by the energy we just felt. And then maybe like 5 minutes down the road, we passed the exact same sign. It says 246 miles to San Francisco. And we're like, no, we passed that. We drove past it. What's going on? We were freaking out. When I got back to my house, I had gotten out of the shower and I was putting like lotion on, and I felt something sharp in my lower back. And I look, and there's literally a black triangle piece in my lower back. Years later, I found this guy who used to be a photographer for the Rolling Stone magazine, and he owned this restaurant, and I was telling the guys about this missing piece of time, and they're like, oh my god, wait, you have to meet this guy. And they bring him out of the kitchen, and he's like has a newspaper that he puts out quarterly, and it's all about UFOs and abductions, and he talks about the placement of chips, and it's literally the exact same spot. There were like 3 locations that they're normally in, and one was there.
There it is.
I've gone to doctors and they're like, I don't know what it is, but
You have to show me. I want to see.
Who knows? If you're lucky, you might be next for a free space tour.
So I just found out about Maxwell the cat that runs around with a GoPro on his head, just beating up other cats in his neighborhood. What's his villain origin story? Is he the Joker? Why is he doing this? What's his motivation? He runs around Gotham herding cats. The craziest part about this is when you realize that the owner looks at the video of his cat beating up other cats, edits it, puts it on the internet, and then lets the cat go back outside. The owner is just collecting cat fight compilations like it's World Star Hip Hop in 2012. What is his problem? What is going on? There's never any reason for it. He starts it, and it's always cats. He's racist. He's a racist towards his own kind. The other cats always try to get away by running into bushes and running under cars, but Maxwell loves that shit. This is his passion. It's just another game of tag. He loves when you make it difficult for him so that he can mess you up. He always finds some innocent cat that's just chilling, doing nothing, and all of a sudden the cats are like, boo! No, they're like, chill, I don't want this work. And he's like, nah, it's time for this ass whooping. It's time. He needs to go to Cat Guantanamo Bay or Cat Arkham Asylum. I don't know where he needs to go, but he can't be on the streets anymore. The cats aren't safe.
If you want to be real, I'm robbing banks in the morning.
The FBI is searching for a bank robber. This is a picture of the suspect who was spotted shirtless on the CTA.
So you say you a hood hero? I'm a GD from fucking...
The FBI says he's responsible for at least 3 bank robberies on the Magnificent Mile.
If you want to be real, I'll give you fucking 10 G's at 8 o'clock. You take me with you. I'm robbing banks in the morning. I'm already on the run.
What's your last name? The suspect is about 5'7", slightly balding.
I'm robbing banks in the morning, right there. I already robbed them, motherfucker.
Banks in the morning. He on the run.
This my second GD homie, folks. I'm sliding behind for nothing. I ain't gonna lie. You know what? Nah, folks. He be doing drugs. I'm not sliding behind him, folks.
The FBI is offering a reward for information that leads to his arrest.
Non-verbal. I can't even say nothing but non-verbal, bro.
You take me at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll give you 10 grand.
For the 10 G's, we can take it to the bank. Ah, shit. Turn the camera off.
Monday morning.
Hey, he kept it real 100%.
And tonight, 7 News is getting a rare look inside a giant military facility tucked into a mountain. The top-secret Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado Springs can withstand a nuclear attack. It's like a mini underground city, an engineering marvel. And tonight, my co-anchor Eric Connor takes you on a tour of one of the safest spots in the world.
On the outside, it looks like your typical mountain, but inside is one of the most advanced military installations ever.
We were designed for a nuclear blast.
Stephen Rose is the deputy director for the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, which houses 13 Department of Defense agencies. He's bringing us inside the tunnels. These 2 doors, weighing 23 tons each, lead to 15 multi-story buildings.
They're made of Navy-grade steel. And but you wouldn't tell it, you know, that we try to normalize the feel of the mountain as you work here.
At any given time, 150 to 300 people are working inside, tracking every threat to North America.
It's like a mini city underground.
The 5-acre site sits under a mile of granite and was built nearly 50 years ago.
The main tunnel was designed in Soviet time frame, when Cold War, at the height of the Cold War, to allow any blast attack, to allow the blast to pass straight on through the mountain. So the buildings would ride on these springs and never touch the granite. They'd essentially bounce.
The buildings rest on 1,500 of those giant springs, so even if an earthquake happened, the building would make it. All of the pipes are also built to withstand a blast.
Water, sewage, anything going into these buildings actually has to flex with the bouncing as well. So that, because it doesn't really do any good if the buildings survive, the people survive, but then you don't have the electricity or the communication lines to continue the missions.
And they take care of their neighbors. When the Waldo Canyon fire broke out, crews from the Cheyenne Mountain Complex were first on scene to fight it. Outside the complex sits a 9/11 memorial, a reminder of why what they do inside is so important for all of us.
It's like running a mini city underground, both in peacetime and in wartime.
Cool stuff, right? And since the complex is so tucked away, it offers employees everything from a chapel to shops, a dining facility, even a gym and a hospital are on site. Now, employees are not allowed to bring in cell phones. They probably wouldn't work underground anyway, but no recording devices are allowed because of classified work being done inside, which is why we weren't able to get a look at everything going on there. By the way, there are 5 lakes inside that Cheyenne Mountain facility.
And that's just for the Cold War. We're gonna believe this. They're probably prepping something nasty, guys.
We're, according to Bashar, relatively imminently about to have open first contact. Did you ever see the Mothman Prophecies?
Yeah, I love that movie.
There's a line in the movie where the protagonist asks a mentor, why is this being paying attention to me? And he's saying, because you noticed them and they noticed that you noticed them.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And now they're aware that you're aware of them, so they can engage with you. And when you notice them, you have reached a certain point where something new can happen. And I think that's one of the things that leads to the idea of the fact that we're, according to Bashar, relatively imminently about to have open first contact. We have reached a point where we have noticed enough, and they've noticed that we've noticed enough, that we can be introduced to each other. Bashar has recently said, even though it might seem like, how could that happen so quickly? He's recently said, open contact is about to happen within the next 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
So, get ready.
I had to become a Freemason because you can't get involved in Satanism on the hardcore level without first being a Freemason. That was my official shrine portrait, which they took as part of my initiation. I was ready to become involved in hardcore Satanism. What did that mean? Well, that meant I had to sell my soul to the devil. I had to sign my name on the contracted blood. I had to sign my name in the black book. You gotta understand something. The satanic doctrine here is that hell is not what we believe it is, or what the Bible teaches it is. The satanic doctrine is that hell is this incredible party. It's like a nonstop, all-eternity orgy. So you're smoking dope, you're fornicating your brains out, you're listening to rock and roll through all eternity. And it's party hardy time. But before I could get onto the priesthood of Satanism, excuse me, I had to get 7 people to sell our souls to the devil. The other thing I had to do, and this might astonish some of you, is I had to become a Catholic priest. I had to go back to my original vocation. because you cannot be a satanic priest unless, first of all, you're a Catholic priest. And if that surprises you, I just suggest that you go and you read some of the medieval literature. You'll see that that is in fact the case.
A Japanese man makes $80,000 a year renting himself out as a do-nothing friend, but won't befriend clients. 40-year-old Shoji Morimoto has found success by renting himself out for $100 per 2 to 3 hour sessions, offering companionship without any expectation of real friendship. Since 2018, over 1,000 people, including foreigners and locals, have hired him to combat loneliness, a growing public health issue, particularly in Japan, where social withdrawal or hikikomori syndrome is prevalent. Morimoto's role involves little engagement. His clients hire him to simply sit in silence, accompany them on walks, or even observe as they engage in odd activities like eating shredded paper. In early 2024, Morimoto also launched a side business called People Who Don't Rent Anything for singles who need a +1 for a specific task, such as shopping or video gaming. Rather than paying rental fees, patrons seeking those services simply cover his travel and food expenses.
Made in Japan only. Because if you try this here in America, I'm afraid people are going to start disappearing. For real.
A grisly scene. Police say they caught this woman cooking human body parts after she'd been casting spells. I have the details on the shocking case out of Kentucky and where the case stands. Say they found the body of Toralina's mother outside of the home that they shared. Once inside, police say they found a pot that was still warm to the touch with body parts inside. It's truly shocking.
Was she possessed or something? Because that's just evil.
To use it, you just put the glasses on, then as you walk by people, the glasses will detect when somebody's face is in frame. This photo is used to analyze them, and after a few seconds, their personal information pops up on your phone.
Cambridge Community Foundation. Oh, hi, ma'am. Wait, are you Betsy?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I met you through like the Cambridge Community Foundation, right? Yeah. It's great to meet you. I'm Kane.
Oh wait. So do you happen to be the person working on like minority stuff for like Muslims in India at all or something?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you Kashif?
Yes.
Oh, I've read your work before. It's super cool. So here's how it works. We stream the video from the glasses straight to Instagram and have a computer program monitor the stream. We use AI to detect when we're looking at someone's face. Then we scour the internet to find more pictures of that person. Finally, we use data sources like online articles and voter registration databases to figure out their name, phone number, home address, and relatives' names. And it's all fed back to an app we wrote on our phone. Is your address 4 Valley? Yeah. Atlanta, Georgia, 303. Is
oh my god. Yes. Not anything, but yeah.
also attended Yale's Young Global Scholar Summer Program, right? Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
these are me in like middle school.
Oh my god. What about John and Susan? Are they your
Those are my parents.
parents? Okay.
If it's not a prank, that's a scary cheat code.
Australia is home to some of the most extreme and dangerous wildlife on Earth, including the redback spider, also known as the Australian black widow. It can trap and eat snakes 50 times its own size. It does so with a sticky, tangled web optimized for entrapment and a dose of lethal venom. The venom liquefies the snake's insides, which the spider then drinks.
Now, which one of y'all backyard breeders did this? What in the Doberman, Staffordshire, Pug, Men, Chihuahua? No. You need to go to jail.
Back in the boat, back in the boat. They're coming back. I'm going to finish you guys off.
I broke the rule. I'm the one that broke the rule.
A school cafeteria worker admits she did wrong, and she understands why she was fired.
She just couldn't stop giving extra food to children she felt really needed it.
Debbie Solzman says that students in this district know who doesn't have any money because they're the ones with the cheese sandwich. Worked as a beloved lunch lady here at Denver Place. She says she would upgrade the lunch of a child who didn't have enough money or give them extra food if they said they were still hungry.
If they didn't have enough money on their account, they would get a cheese sandwich instead. The other kids knew when they walked out into the cafeteria why they got the cheese sandwich.
She says she also would hear stories of food insecurity.
There was children that got a free lunch that would come back and say, Miss Debbie, I'm still hungry.
Solzman says she kept Post-it note IOUs and paid out of her own pocket for kids, but the district suspended, and Solzman admits to giving her grandchildren extra food too, but says it wasn't just them.
Wants to give that lady a raise and a medal.
That's why motion picture stars are called movie stars, because in the Bible, stars were referred to as lesser illuminaries. So these lesser illuminaries are working for the big Illuminati. So the big Illuminati are using the lesser Illuminati. The lesser illuminaries are just stars.
Am I the only one, or has anyone else thought of why would the astronauts have their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Why are they actors?
Let's look at the photo. You say that's me? Okay, check out the name badge. It says Aldrin. Looks like you're right. But notice the helmet. Can you see my face? No.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest. It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
The majority of African Americans that lived here were brought over here.
No.
No.
No, that's not economically sound.
What do you mean by it's not economically sound?
So what I'm saying is, people were already here. Does it make sense to go all the way to this other continent to bring people on a boat when we know that half of your stock is going to die? You wouldn't do that.
So how many people do you think were brought over from Africa on slave ships? Because that definitely happened.
I don't believe it.
What do you mean you don't believe it?
I don't believe that story. You think this whole land was empty? No, there were natives here.
Right.
But today we're taught that natives is some other people. No, natives are the melanated African being that has come here since the beginning of the Mali Empire. We're talking about 14th, 13th century. We had already come here from Africa.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had already come here. You know, maybe people were brought over as slaves, but I don't think that the black people in America came from Africa on slave ships. I believe the people that were here were slowly conquered. First, they got the East Coast, and then they started spreading out west little by little, conquering. And when you conquer a tribe, what do? You enslave them. They're POWs. Right?
Okay.
That's what you do.
But I'm still confused. There's a great history of slave ships being brought over from Africa.
History is his story.
Right.
What about my story? Is my story not valid?
But if you do 23andMe on from out
23andMe,
well, that's
either way. If you take black people here in America and you do their DNA sample and it point back to Africa, what does that say? It says black people in America are Africans. Now the argument is, were we brought here or were we already here? Did we bring ourselves here or did the white man bring us here? You see, when you say the white man brought us here, what you're doing is you're removing our ability to transport ourselves. You're saying, oh, we didn't know anything about boats. That's what you're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me that we didn't know that there was a landmass here. Go look at the primary source. You got how we met black people. When you got the Caribbean, we met black people. You think the Caribbean is right next to America and they weren't in America?
That's interesting.
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, when you go and you look at real European history, right, would believe that if they took a bath, it was bad.
Right.
They didn't even want to change their clothes. They thought that dirty was purity. When we talk about the Moors going into Spain and into Europe, the stories in the history, our history, says that when we met, the so-called Caucasian, he was sleeping in the barn with the animals, and we told him, no, you can't sleep in the barn with animals. We taught them etiquette. We taught them running water. We brought that technology to Europe. Now, if we brought the technology to Europe that saved Europe from the Black Plague, you mean to tell me that if we saved the white race, that we weren't already in America already? When we brought the technology? When Rome was dependent on Africa for food? Remember when the Black Plague hit Rome? The cause was one of the officials was stealing the grain that was coming from Africa. So there was famine, hit Rome. If your source of sustenance is from Africa, how are you superior? You're not. You get your food from me. So if you get your food from me, who's more likely to travel this globe? Me, I'm the source of food. And that's the first thing you need to survive on this planet.
I was sitting here doing that. I was like, what, dreaming?
How'd you see it?
I don't know why it's so green. Stop, mother. What's your deal?
Would you just look out your window?
I was making my coffee. Stop, dear.
Hold it by the collar. Holy crap.
I'm gonna let you go. You're gonna go your way. I'm gonna go mine. All right? 3, 2, 1.
With the alien face? I don't know.
Remember we were talking about the conspiracy around the hurricane stuff?
Yep.
Yes. Literally after we stopped filming it, I saw like 10 or so posts talking about this area in North Carolina that is one of the world's largest deposits of lithium.
Oh gosh.
And it's in a residential zone.
Yeah, you can't mine it.
And they've gone to these people supposedly and said, we'd like to purchase your land. And they all refused.
Are you kidding me?
And now that exact same spot is
Wiped out.
This is Maui all over again.
It's lithium rich in this area that was wiped out.
And so now we have to keep an eye on that area because what the flip are they going to do there, dude?
But yeah, people won't be able to afford to rebuild. So if someone can come in and cover like the remaining mortgage, families will go somewhere else and start over, leaving the land behind.
The story keeps repeating itself. Who's next?
You go to China right now, you start talking a little bit about what's called Skynet. And Skynet is this massive surveillance program.
Is it cool, Skynet?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So in certain places of China right now, if you want to board a metro, you have to run a biometric. They evaluate whether or not you've been talking shit about the government online, and they'll drop your social credit score. If you have a poor social credit score and you want to get into your apartment, it says access denied. They don't even let you into your own home. It's getting really crazy. They have facial recognition cameras in every sidewalk. And what they do is if you jaywalk when the light is red, it'll scan your face and it'll deduct money automatically from your bank account. It gets so crazy that in certain places of Shanghai, you want to walk on the sidewalk, you're only allowed to walk in one direction. If you walk in the opposite direction, they scan your face, deduct money from your bank account, and if you don't have money in your bank account, social credit score gets removed.
Activate.
Most people have microwave ovens in their house and cook a lot of food that way. Is that good?
It's the best way to kill yourself really, really fast. You can even do a test. Microwave water, and you have your flower pots, 2 flower pots with the same flower, bought at the same shop. And one you water with regular water, and the other you water with microwave water. The one you water with microwave water is dead in 3 to 7 days. Dead, not minusculely grown. No, it's done. Then the military started to get food faster warmed up for our military. They tried microwaved food. After 3 days, they had to stop because everybody was throwing up, dizzy and nauseous. The microwave is basically destroying every food value that's in the food and turning it into a toxin. So everything out of the microwave is highly toxic. And the food value is completely zero. So it doesn't really matter if you have a bowl of vegetable soup that you warm up in the microwave oven, or if you eat cardboard. It makes no difference because the food value is not there anymore, and it also becomes toxic.
Time to warm up the food old-fashioned like grandma. She dropped that plate like here's your damn noodles.
One way for you to experience the vibration of your forehead, plug up each nostril with a thumb, and you put your fingers on your forehead like this, and you push up with your fingers, and you go, oh. You can feel your forehead vibrating quite powerfully. There is a small organ in the inner ear called the saccule, and the saccule is about the size of a pea, and it's got liquid in it, and it's got little grains of sand and nerves all over the inside of it, and it's used to detect the position of the head in relation to gravity. Now, the saccule in reptiles and also in whales and dolphins happens to be a hearing organ. It is a hearing organ that receives ultrasonic frequencies, but only if they're transmitted physically through the body. In other words, ultrasound coming through the air doesn't affect the saccule, but if it's transmitted physically through the body, the saccule becomes a hearing organ, and it's got nerves running all over the brain that have nothing to do with balance. It's got nerves running to the hearing part of the brain and various other parts, and in fact, it's impossible to trace all the nerves running from the saccule to the different parts of the brain. So it's a very significant organ because it's a hearing organ that we have that we don't use. How could the human body receive ultrasonic sound physically through the body itself? There's only one way in nature that could happen, and that would be if we were in the ocean and a whale or a dolphin was scanning us with their ultrasonic sound frequencies. If you've ever swam with whales, you know that when they emit ultrasonic sound bursts, you can hear it, and most of us think we're hearing it with our ears, but you're actually hearing it through your saccule. We build an ultrasonic downverter, which is an ultrasonic microphone that takes ultrasonic sound and then converts it down into the range of ordinary human hearing. And then we put the neurophone on our head, and then we walked around with the downverter to see what kind of signal came off the human head when we were listening to the neurophone. The front of the forehead emits signals, ultrasonic signals, in a very tight beam, just like ultrasonic magnifier or just like an ultrasonic lens. And it has side lobes. In fact, it looks a little bit like the signal off a YAG antenna, an electromagnetic signal. So when you put the neurophone on, you're transmitting this powerful ultrasonic signal off the front of your head. And this might explain some of the telepathic stuff that we've experienced with the neurophone. Since we can record and hear ultrasonic sound through the body, and our foreheads, sinuses, sinus cavities, our ultrasonic radiators. Maybe we can figure out a way to create ultrasonic sound using a human voice box. And so I began working on that, and I discovered several ways of creating ultrasonic sound using our own voice. And it's interesting that there are different ways of doing it. That's one way. If you can direct sounds from your throat, vocal pulses or other sounds, up into your sinuses, they vibrate and generate ultrasonic overtones. So I taught some friends how to do this, and they were going to Hawaii, and they wanted to swim with dolphins, and so they went to this bay where dolphins sometimes come, and there were no dolphins, and I had taught them how to make the ultrasonic sound. So I said, well, next time you go in the water, I want you to go underwater and generate the ultrasonic tone, and I want you to move your head back and forth, underwater, back and forth, slowly, like you're scanning, and just transmit that sound off your forehead into the water and see what happens. So they went in the bay, and there were no dolphins around. They were very disappointed. They went underwater. They did the exercise. 15 minutes later, they had 400 dolphins around them. And these dolphins were scanning them intensely with their sonar to the point where their bodies were vibrating to the point they could hardly stand it. It was so strong. And they said, why do you think the dolphins did that? And I said, well, dolphins and whales have been saying, God, you guys are our ancient ancestors and you don't remember, and someday you're going to remember how to make ultrasonic sound and you're going to come communicate. And so, because they can tell a mechanical ultrasonic oscillator or electronic one from an organic one. And when they heard that organic beam coming through the water, they knew that was a human making that sound and that he had to be doing it consciously. I said, next time they come to see you, just communicate with them. Just send a beam at them and think the thought, how are you? You know, like, yes, that was me, and how are you? Just think the thought. Doesn't matter what the sound is, it's just a carrier. And so I said, and then listen to the dolphin. When they scan you, just see if you got any, like, weird thoughts or things, you know, and it might be something they're transmitting. You know, they might go, yes, we heard you, we are here. and just kind of realize that the human voice carries certain kinds of information, but the intention when we're speaking is what really is carried on top of that. And I believe that intention is the most powerful communications device that we've got, and our ability to transmit intention with our words is most important, because you can tell someone I love you, and if your intention isn't there, then they know that wasn't genuine, because the intention is what really communicates.
If you guys get a chance to try it, come back here and leave a comment.
Do you know that Prince Charles is the main heir of Count Dracula? I know, I agree. That sounds insane. I bet you $1 million.
Bring that up, Jamie.
I bet Prince Charles, Count Dracula. Okay. Prince Charles is the heir of Count Dracula. Is that right? He moved in 5 years ago to Count Dracula's castle, and he lives with a group of homeless children in it.
No, he does not.
I swear to God.
Prince Charles. Prince Harry's dad.
Prince Charles, the heir of the throne of the dragon.
Okay.
He is a Transylvanian prince.
According to this Google search from express.co.uk, Prince Charles has distant kinship to Vlad Tepes, the 15th century Wakallian ruler, whom the Irish novelist based his Dracula.
Hold on. Prince Charles, like the one that we all know. Prince Charles.
Yeah, he's related to Count Dracula.
You didn't know, now you know.
I can't even believe I'm reporting on this. I am bewildered, y'all. Just an hour ago, drone swarms targeting U.S. military base operated by a mothership UFO. Top Pentagon officials claim. Look, I know your brain is numb and we've been through a lot this year, but you need to wrap your head around the fact that our government is saying that we're being targeted by UFOs. And this report comes right after the 2 mysterious crashes in Raleigh, North Carolina and Washington, D.C., which had the cops out in full force. Y'all need to wake up. Very brief recap till we get into the crazy stuff.
It's early in the morning on the U.S. Capitol grounds. They mass security and law enforcement is everywhere. What's going
Y'all, this is just unreal. Now what's behind me is a Space Force logo. Who else is highly into space? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos and alike. Who started Space Force? The T-Man did. What else about the T-Man? Time travel, the book The Last President. Here's his son, Baron Trump. Here's Alexander the Great. Much like Vladimir and Caesar. Who stands with this guy? Elon Musk does. What did he create? Tesla. Nikola Tesla, raided by this man's uncle, who supposedly during the time of the raid had a time machine. Don't y'all see the bigger picture? They call it Galactic, but it's interdimensional. And this speaks for itself. Y'all, what an amazing time to be alive. Do y'all think we'll have this contact before the end of the year? Let me know below.
So this is a study that was done to find the difference between people that use iPhones and people that use Androids. This was actually a crazy study, and I feel like people are going to be very upset when they hear this. So New York Times posted a study, and they found that Android users are actually more introverted and iPhone users are actually more extroverted, right? But they did another study, and they found that Android users are actually the more honest and nicer people. And iPhone users are actually people that lie a lot, but they're more adventurous and they're more curious. But what's crazy about this study is they found that Android users are actually the ones that are smarter with their money, because they found that iPhone users actually spend the double of the amount of money per day on their everyday life than Android users. And overall, iPhone users are just on their phones more than Android users. They even found that iPhone users actually send twice as many texts per day and take twice as many pictures per day.
Does it mean the Android gang take the win? Doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, we're all getting brainwashed. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit and smash the like button for me. Smash the subscribe button, be part of the family. Remember, stay woke, and I'll catch you next time.